So my name is Ashok Kamal, and I'm co-founder and CEO of a green gamification consulting company. And one of the challenges that people like me face is making green cool. You don't release dopamine for turning off the water when you're brushing your teeth, or the guy doesn't get the hot girl for recycling. Trust me, I speak from experience. But our first speaker's company, Recyclebank, has achieved that. They have learned how to make going green, rewarding, and cool. They were recently named one of the top 50 most innovative companies in the world by Fast Co. And Sam Skey is going to share with us how they've cracked the green code.
Okay. Hi. So Recyclebank, as Ashok mentioned, is focused on rewarding people for taking positive green actions in their daily lives. So our mission has always been to increase recycling and decrease energy usage, conserve water, and basically change mainstream consumer behavior. We didn't really realize we were a gamified platform until Gabe anointed us as such. So now we talk about ourselves as being a gamified strategy to drive behavior change. But really what we initially set out to do was to reward people for recycling and showcase the impact of their actions back to them in real time. We didn't set out to focus on women or moms, millennial moms, for the purpose of this talk. They came to us. It seemed to be the most interested and the most interesting demographic and psychographic for us was this head of household female who often has young children in the home and who's very motivated by a combination of gaming and rewards and meaning or cause. So those that trifecta is what's led to, I think, our propagation and positive results. One of the things that we're going to get into here is looking at this woman or this user as both a gamer and also as a game master or a game designer. If you give her the tools, which we are just now learning how to do, she will actually design games that will affect change and that will drive our goals. I'm not going to do that again. That will drive our goals in terms of advancing consumer behavior change in a positive environmental direction. So motherhood, we are looking at kind of what it is about motherhood that makes women reconsider the environment and what it is about motherhood that makes people kind of interested in social games. And we're going with everybody knows women are huge social gamers and that like 54% of social gamers are moms and all that fun stuff, and that the likelihood to be an active social gamer increases with presence of children in the household, towards the mom, that is. Anyway, so that's all the sort of background that you guys know already. So we're trying to think a little bit about what it is in motherhood that creates this Jones for productivity. And if we think about motherhood as one of the most, starting with pregnancy, as one of the most productive times in a person's life, you're producing a human being while simultaneously working or watching TV or eating a hamburger or whatever. I felt super productive when I was pregnant, and that seems to be something that carries over and changes the way moms think about their time. So there's the positive element of productivity and the positive influence that her child might have on her consideration of the environment. Many women who didn't kind of catch the bug in college end up reconsidering their interest in sustainability as a result of producing offspring, both because they're looking at the future of the planet for their kids and also because they're contemplating what they're bringing into the household in a different way. So that's some of the motivation we see. The darker side of motherhood that's emerging here is that it can be very isolating, and social games are not surprisingly for moms a really great way to manage her isolation or to combat her isolation. There's a huge time shift that happens for most new moms where you suddenly find yourself with pockets of time in the middle of the night. There's also the quest for meaning and the quest for comfort, and I think a lot of these drivers have led to such sort of extreme popularity of social games among moms, and have also helped us to engage mothers in our mission. Okay, this next bit, if it works, it's a video, is the darker still side of mothering, and the epic challenge, if you will. And this is, just bear with me, it's not like abusive or anything, but maybe that's a creepy intro. This is my friend's kids. Watch him, he's like about to give up, that one, then he like just goes, wah! And now she almost dies. She starts coughing. So, this goes on for a while. Sorry, it'll end soon, I promise. The point of showing that totally painful little clip is just to think about the obvious need for escape at times, but also the need to apply dynamics to manage gaming dynamics, in some cases, to manage the chaos that ensues when you have multiple children with lots of intense, urgent needs in the home. In this case, those kids weren't even asking for anything in particular. They were just upset. There was no specific grievance they were logging. They were just pissed. And they were collaborating on their upset, which can also happen pretty often with presence of multiple children in the household. So a lot of moms who we're working with are using gaming dynamics to actually shift to change that dynamic and to become, instead of sort of the perpetual cattle prod, to become the game master in their home. And it's no surprise women are quite good at gaming. If you think about what mothers go through in particular, and sort of the adept gaming they must do day to day just to sort of continue to excel and perform and get children dressed and get themselves off to work and all of the sort of daily challenges that ensue, it makes sense that they're also pretty strategic when it comes to gaming. That's something that we as at Recyclebank have employed is a model through which we reward people with whatever type of reward is most compelling to them. We find that moms in particular care a lot about monetary rewards. They are the sort of purse string holders in the home and make most of the significant purchase decisions. And they, especially in particular if they're not contributing to the household finances through other ways, they feel like they can game the heck out of coupons to get extra to manage the family's finances. And they feel a great accountability and a great achievement to finding deals and to saving money on behalf of the household. So that's something we've leveraged in terms of our choice of rewards. We have a preponderance of users who like to, in exchange for their green actions, they will choose dollars off of Kashi cereal or a jar of mayonnaise, weird stuff. So she is this profile, this consumer, this citizen is not only a great individual gamer, but a distributor of games every day. And as such, she is extremely capable of driving positive change. And that's why we focus on her, and that's why we think that this opportunity is really timely. Now, again, to not get too much into the obvious, that today's moms are super social and have kind of come into motherhood in many cases with social platforms as their guides. There are some really interesting statistics around the source of information for most new mothers and mothers in general is peers, and usually peers who they don't know online. Has sort of taken the place as primary information source over medical professionals. We also know that this audience is very, very likely to propagate the things that they know. So we have used the power of social to enable the moms and the members we serve to take a toolkit and actually propagate points distribution, impact trackers, all sorts of utilities that allow them to be advocates of change on their own and to manage their own networks and track the impact of their networked commitments. So finally, just landing on the concept of gaming for good. This works, we've found that we can marry this online activity and interest in online gaming or social gaming that's so visible and so strong among women, and in particular, again, moms. We can marry that with the offline gaming dynamics they are employing every day to manage their households, to manage their children, to manage all of the tasks at hand. We can bring those two things together, the impulse to engage in a short, achievable social game, together with the desire to do well offline and to make a difference in the world and to manage their children productively. We can marry those to produce significant change in terms of, again, green behaviors. So technology in general has helped women lots to be more productive. There's not a whole lot of joy in some aspects of the technology they're using to manage their lives. What we're looking to do is produce actual fun in addition to productivity and efficiency. We're trying to produce a fun experience that makes women happy and makes them return again and again to take incremental actions and to learn more about how they can lead a more sustainable lifestyle. And we find that technology can, of course, create efficiencies. This is just an example of managing one's outlook, but also can create, when an immersive experience is produced, an impact is really correlated to action and then delivered back to the individual participant in a game or in an experience, that can actually produce joy as well as efficiency and make our moms really happy. So how games are bridging the gap. We're talking here about sort of another reason that we've focused on women and that we've seen such tremendous impact as a result of engaging moms is that they are connected endemically to Generation Z or whatever the next generation ends up being named, and they employ social games, whether it's sort of your Draw Something or Lexilus, to connect with their kids, and they are willing to. They're not only willing, they want to be participants in their kids' technology experiences. And what we've found is that moms who play or engage with Recyclebank along with their children are 3 times more likely to return. They spend about 4 times more engagement time on our site. They redeem more points, they earn more points, they redeem more rewards, and they generally rate their experience much better. I think that's, what we would kind of postulate there is that it's because they feel that they're actually doing good, not only by the world and escaping a bit through an immersive gaming experience, but they also feel like they're educating their children, and in many cases they are. In other cases, they're being educated on topics that they don't know that their kids might know something about. So it's a very productive collaboration. When we look at the reason that people interact with Recyclebank, and that we've been able to grow to about 6 million participants in a relatively short period of time and without any kind of magic widgetry, we think that it's really about this feeling of productivity together with a feeling that they're contributing to something that has meaning. A lot of the grievances we hear about engaging in environmental responsibility or in the sustainability movement, a lot of the grievances we hear have to do with this concept that I as an individual can't make an impact. What we try to mitigate that by showcasing not only the individual impact of a member's actions, but also the impact of their network and the impact of their kids' efforts over time. So what we find is that although they might enter for the game, and they might come in because it's a cute sort of Angry Bird-like simulation of chucking waste into the right receptacle, and that in itself will allow for a bit of escapism and a bit of education. You'll see where plastic 5 belongs and where it doesn't belong. What we find is that the feeling that at the end of that game, seeing sort of a representation of what would happen or what the waste reduction and energy reduction in the country would be if everybody did recycle plastic 5 properly, that has real meaning and actually empowers them to feel like their actions can make a difference. So the sort of on our moving towards final points, we find that our users are users who rate their experience the highest seem to derive social validation from their own efforts around gaming for green or gaming for good. Most of our most active members feel that they are becoming smarter. They feel that they are contributing positively to society, although often, the actions they're taking are pretty superficial and might not actually take much effort. But the feeling of validation from a third party and from their peers is really positive and drives sort of exponential lift in participation. Another interesting thing here that we found was that if members are represented as neck and neck with their peers, they're much more likely to remain highly engaged than if there's a big delta. So if Susie can see that her recycling behavior is 10% higher than her neighbor, she's going to recycle her ass off for the remainder of her life, or at least the time that she's tracking with us. Where if it's 60% below or above her neighbor, she's not as motivated to continue to increase. Not terribly surprising, but very consistent. We also see a interesting kind of convalescence of collaboration and individual winning, or desire for individual winning. Many of our participants are most active and most engaged when they feel that they have completed a task and won, and they've seen their individual impact. The community impact that we also are exhibiting back to our members, or the overall impact of what their town has done in terms of incremental recycling, or their school has done in terms of energy reduction or water conservation. That's motivating, but there's also a little bit of a diffusion of responsibility, it seems, because it's not as likely to drive significant lift in participation. So when we look at the actual outcomes of what we've been undertaking at Recyclebank, we've seen that one of the most significant areas in which we can show a positive outcome is in lifting what we refer to as eco-IQs, or actual knowledge base of green actions, sustainability, proper recycling techniques. We do not believe that the majority of our members enter Recyclebank or come into our platform because they want to learn how to recycle or because they want to be smarter about water conservation. We believe that they come in, and this is well documented, because they want rewards. They want cool stuff. It's not that they want tons of meaningless points. They want monetary rewards. They want peer validation. They want feedback perpetually on how awesome they are. And they want visibility for their own actions. And what they end up, emerging with is a knowledge basis that they didn't really have any intention of picking up necessarily. But that's one of the most valuable things we can do, is change their knowledge base. Because once we've done that, behavior change does usually follow. So using games as a mechanism to change knowledge and thus change behavior is something we feel really, really strongly about. And finally, the eco impact we've seen, or the actual, this is a representation of actual rates of recycling rate increases on a city tons per month is the first, and then the household pounds per year. And you can see that the integration of education and incentives, it's not, when we say incentives, we mean the whole gamut, really does take a kind of mundane task and produce a really positive outcome. Bam, thanks. Done. Okay. Go. Can I go?
Thanks, Sam. So is it fair to say that you just premiered Recyclebank's new mission of getting people to recycle their ass off?
Their ass off, yes.
A lot of launches at the GSummit.
Yes.
So we have actually a minute for questions. If anybody wants to, please come to the mic in front.
Yeah, I just wanted to pick up on one of your first comments. You said you didn't deliberately come in to use gamification or game mechanics. What did you deliberately come in? Was it more just being a social platform? Or?
Oh, sure. You mean, what are we actually doing?
What did you want to do with your platform? Was it a social mechanic?
Gotcha. Okay, so like when we set out, we were so super weird. We thought we were going to work with local municipalities and haulers across the country to, we put RFID chips on bins and we're tracking recycling. And it's not super weird. It's essentially what we do now, but the mechanism was interesting. So we were tracking actual weight on a per household basis, showcasing the weight back to the end user and rewarding them for increasing. So it's more that we didn't call it gamification. We called it a rewards program for green action.